She is 26, he is 63. And she is not with him for the reason you think, and she is not with him for the reason your neighbor thinks either. Stick around because by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly what is happening in her head. And honestly, you might see yourself completely differently after this. Hi, I am Marian and welcome back. If this is your first time here, this channel is where I tell foreign men the truth about Filipinas that nobody else has the guts to say out loud. Today, we are talking about something a lot of men whisper about, but almost nobody explains properly why so many younger Filipinas are drawn to men well past 60. If you enjoy watching my videos, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a video in the future. Thanks! Okay, now come sit down because this one is going to challenge some things you think you already know. Let's start with the assumption everybody makes. The lazy one. The one that gets thrown around in comment sections by people who have never actually lived here. The assumption is that it is only about money. Full stop, end of story, gold digger, case closed. And look, I am not going to sit here and tell you money plays zero role because that would be a lie. And I promised you honesty. But if you think money is the whole picture, you are missing about 80% of what is actually going on, and that missing 80% is the part that actually matters to you. Here is the first thing nobody tells you. A lot of these young women grew up in households where the father was either absent, drunk, unfaithful, or just plain useless. Not all of them, but more than you would guess. When a girl grows up watching her mother struggle, watching her father disappear for days, or spend the family's food money on beer with his friends, something happens in her head very early. She starts building a picture of what she does not want. And that picture usually looks like a loud, immature, unreliable young man who thinks with his ego instead of his brain. So when a mature foreign man walks into her life, calm, patient, financially stable, someone who actually listens when she talks, it does not read to her as strange, it reads as relief. Imagine spending your whole childhood flinching every time a man raised his voice and then meeting someone who never does that. That is not a business transaction in her mind. That is oxygen. Let me give you a picture of this. Picture a girl named, let's just call her a barista in Cebu. 24 years old, working 6 days a week for wages that would not cover your grocery bill back home. Her father left when she was 9. Her mother raised 4 kids alone, cleaning houses. This girl has watched every single young man her age either disappear after getting a girl pregnant or drink away his paycheck every Friday night. She is not naive. She has seen the pattern up close her whole life. So when she meets a 60-year-old retired engineer from Australia who is soft-spoken, who asks about her day and actually waits for the answer, her brain is not doing gold digger math. Her brain is doing survival math. And in her survival math, stability beats youth every single time. Now, here is the second piece. And this one is going to surprise you. It is about respect, not the fairy tale kind, the practical kind. Filipino culture, especially outside the big cities, still runs on a strong sense of hierarchy and deference toward elders. Age is not something to be embarrassed about here, the way it is in the West. Age signals wisdom, patience, and earned position. A woman who ends up with an older man is not automatically pitied by her community the way she might be in London or Los Angeles. In a lot of provinces, she is seen as someone who made a smart, grounded choice. Her aunties are not gossiping that she settled. They are asking her how she caught someone so steady. That cultural detail changes everything about the psychology. In the West, dating someone 20, 30, even 40 years older carries a stigma. There is a voice in the back of a Western woman's head worrying about what her friends will say. That voice is much quieter here, and for a lot of these women, it is not there at all. Which means she is free to actually evaluate you on your merits, calm, resources, kindness, without her whole social circle screaming in her ear that she is doing something shameful. Third thing, and this is the one most men completely underestimate, emotional maturity is addictive once you have tasted it. I mean that literally addictive. A 25-year-old man is still figuring out who he is. He is insecure and he hides it behind bravado. He gets jealous over nothing. He picks fights to feel powerful. He disappears for 3 days because his ego got bruised. A woman who has dated one or two of these men, and trust me, most of them have, starts to crave the opposite the way your body craves water after a long hot day. Before you send a single peso to a woman in the Philippines, listen to me. Gary, 58, from Brisbane, Australia, was 2 clicks away from wiring $4,000 to a woman he had never even video called. Her sick mother. The emergency? Sound familiar? Then he read my red flag checklist, and his blood ran cold. She'd hit every single warning sign. Gary didn't lose a cent, and 6 months later, using what I teach, he met Jenny. Real, loving, down to earth, and today they're building a life together. Here's the truth: the warmth in the Philippines is real, but so are the scams. I'm Marian, a Filipina, and in my Honest Filipina Dating Playbook, I show you how to tell the difference and how to meet Filipina women the right way. Protect yourself and find the real one. Get it now in the description or in the pinned comment. A man in his 60s, if he has done any work on himself at all, does not play those games anymore. He says what he means. He does not need to win every argument to feel like a man. That steadiness is rare, and rare things get chased. Now let's talk about something a little more taboo. Because I promised you honesty, not a sanitized version. Some of these younger women are genuinely physically drawn to older men. I know that sounds hard to believe if you have spent your whole life being told by Western media that only youth is attractive. But attraction is not just a face and a six pack. Confidence is magnetic. A man who is comfortable in his own skin, who does not need to prove anything, who moves through the world unhurried, that carries its own kind of charisma. Add a bit of gray hair, a deep voice, someone who has actually lived a life and has stories to tell instead of a highlight reel to perform. And for a certain kind of woman that is genuinely chemically attractive. Not every woman, but more than you think, and definitely more than the internet wants you to believe. Here is a scenario for you. A retired firefighter from Texas, 59 years old, meets a 28-year-old nurse in Davao. He is not flashy. He does not throw money around. He is just calm, and he laughs easily, and he genuinely asks her questions about her work instead of talking about himself the whole time. 3 months in, she tells her best friend that being around him feels like the first time she has ever actually relaxed with a man. Not excited in the nervous, stomach flipping way she felt with boys her age. Relaxed, safe. That is a different kind of attraction. And honestly, it tends to last a lot longer than the nervous kind. Real quick, before I get into the rest, if Marian is making sense to you so far, do me one small favor and tap that like button and subscribe if you haven't yet. It really helps me keep making these videos just for you, and it makes sure you never miss the next one. Okay, come closer because This next part is the one most men get completely wrong. Here's the part where I have to be blunt with you. Because I care more about you understanding the real picture than I do about making you feel good for the next 5 minutes. Not every young woman chasing an older man is doing it for the reasons I just described. Some absolutely are running the numbers, and you need to know how to spot the difference because your heart cannot always tell them apart, but your eyes can if you know what to look for. Watch how she treats people who cannot do anything for her. Does she talk down to the tricycle driver, the waitress, her own younger cousins? A woman who is drawn to you for genuine emotional reasons treats everyone around her with the same warmth she gives you. A woman running a financial script only performs warmth for the person holding the wallet. Watch how she reacts on the days you have nothing to offer. Cancel a shopping trip, say you are tight on money this month, and watch what happens to her mood. If it does not move at all, if she says something like, "That's fine, let's just cook at home and watch a movie," that is a very good sign. If she goes cold, distant, suddenly busy, that tells you everything. Watch her family, especially early on. Genuine affection usually comes with genuine curiosity about you as a person, your past, your kids back home, your health, your fears. If every conversation with her circles back to what you can provide, remittances, a visa, a house for her mother, pay attention to that pattern. Don't excuse it. None of this means every younger woman with an older man is faking it, not even close. What it means is that the honest ones and the calculating ones both exist, and your job is not to assume every young woman is one or the other. Your job is to actually watch the pattern of her behavior over months, not weeks, because anyone can perform affection for a few weeks. Now let's flip this around, because there is something men need to hear about themselves too. A lot of you assume that if a much younger woman is genuinely into you, something must be wrong with her, some kind of daddy issue, some kind of damage. Some women, sure, that plays a role, I already told you that. But stop assuming it always means damage. Sometimes it just means she has clarity you have not given yourself credit for. She has seen what immaturity looks like up close her whole life, and she has decided she does not want it. That is not brokenness. That is a preference, earned through experience. The same way you learned what kind of woman you actually want after a couple of failed marriages taught you some hard lessons. There is also a piece of this that is about being truly seen, maybe for the first time in her adult life. A lot of these women have spent their 20s being treated as disposable by men their own age, used, discarded, promised things that never came. When an older man comes along and actually treats her like a person with a future worth investing in, not just a body to enjoy for a season, that lands differently than you would expect. It is not about the money in his pocket. It is about the fact that somebody finally looked past the next 6 weeks and thought about the next 60 years. So, where does that leave you if you are a man in your 50s or 60s watching this and wondering whether any of this applies to your situation? Here is my honest advice, and I mean every word of it. Do not go looking for a woman who wants you specifically because you are older. Go looking for a woman who genuinely values the things that come with being older: calm, stability, honesty, follow through. Those are not age lock qualities, but they are much more common in a man who has actually lived some life. If she is drawn to that version of you, the version that took decades to build, you are not being chased for a wallet. You are being chosen for a character. And that is a completely different thing. And it is worth having. So let's bring this back to where we started. She is 26, he is 63, and no, it is usually not what you think, and it is usually not as simple as what the cynics online want you to believe either. It is childhood, it is culture, it is emotional maturity, it is a kind of safety most of these women have never actually had. Money plays a part. I told you that from the start. But money without the rest of it rarely keeps a woman around for long. The rest of it is what keeps her there. Before you go, if you're serious about finding real love in the Philippines, I've put everything I know into one honest guide: how to make any Filipina want you. The mindset, where to meet genuine women, the green flags, the red flags, all of it. It's the playbook I wish every good man had before he came here. Grab your ebook in the description or in the pinned comment, and I'll see you there.